With all the new Ark content coming out over the next year, many PC and console players may not realize how important Ark on the Switch is going to be for the entire intellectual property of Ark Survival Evolved.
Everything depends on your survival.
And so for that reason, I want to make sure that you understand why Ark on the Switch might be the most important feature when you're talking about the future of the Ark player base and Ark as a whole. Now, obviously with Ark 2 being released, that's a big deal. That's the sequel to Ark 1, and every single player is excited for it, and everyone's going to be pumped to play that game and try it out. And obviously there's a lot riding on that sequel. Ark the Animated Series is also a big deal because it's bringing the intellectual property, the game itself, to the TV screen, to the television, and letting everybody watch their favorite game in the version of an animated show. Now you might be asking, hey Dark, why would I care about Ark on the Switch when I have a PC or when I have an Xbox? I already have the console, I already have the PC, I can already play Ark 2, I already love Ark 1, why would I want to play it on the Switch? Why does that matter to me? Well, let me tell you, it's pretty widely known that the Nintendo Switch targets a younger audience than PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. If you search on Google, you'll find that the Nintendo Switch has a wider range of audiences, with most notably more of a focus on a younger family-oriented audience and women as well. If you happen to have any friends or know of anyone that's between the ages of 10 and 16, I will bet you that most of them have a Switch when compared to whether or not they have an Xbox or PlayStation or gaming PC. In my own experience and in my family and extended family, all of the children have a Switch. The adults, PlayStation 5, the new Xbox, or PC. Why does that matter? Why does it matter that the Switch is catered towards a younger audience? Well, has Ark from the beginning been catered towards a younger audience? Not really, right? There's a lot of PvP. I mean, the PvE is fun, and that could be a younger audience, but it's pretty complex. It's a complicated game. It's a lot of fun to play with your kid, for example. If you're a grown adult and you have children, yeah, you play with your kids. But it's really targeted towards like teenagers, young adults, and beyond. It's really not catered towards, 12, 13, 14. There's some younger teenagers and younger kids that play Arks by all means, and there's always going to be exceptions to every rule. However, the target market for Ark is a little bit older than the target market for Switch. So Ark has created their Ultimate Survivor Edition for the Nintendo Switch, and they've even changed certain aspects of the game to cater towards that younger audience. Case in point, the new Dino Discovery mode. Now, I don't know all the details of the Dino Discovery mode, and I don't think anyone will until it's actually released on November 9th. The point though is that when that's released, I think we're gonna find that version, that concept, that new aspect of the game is gonna very much be catered towards kids, a younger audience, a younger generation. All right, Dark, we get it. It's catered towards a younger audience. Why does that matter? I don't care. Why does that matter? I'm not a younger guy. Why would I care? Well, if you love Ark like I do, you want it to last for a long time, right? Ark's been around since 2015. It's now 2022. We're almost into 2023. Most games do not last that long, so Ark's lasted pretty long. However, as a general rule of thumb, the reason games die is because their player base either moves on to other games or they get older and kind of fall out of gaming in general. Because, like I said, there's always exceptions to every rule, but most of the time as people get older, they stop playing games because they have kids and they have families and their focuses tend to go somewhere else, right? There's nothing wrong with that, and some people continue to play games. I have an 8-month-old son, but I still play games. I make content on games. I love it. I'm not gonna stop. The point is, the general rule of thumb, as people get older, they stop playing or they move on to something else as time goes on at any age. So what am I getting at here? Well, Ark has targeted a little bit of an older audience compared to the Switch for a while, right? Their player base is getting older. If you started playing Ark in 2015 or even 2016 or 17, by now you're 5, 6, 7 years older, right? And if you started playing when you're a teenager, you're probably either have been in the workforce for a few years, or you've left college or graduated or are graduating soon. The point is you may or may not actually be playing games for that much longer. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. The point is that you may not be playing games all that much longer in the grand scheme of things, maybe a few more years, but you're not gonna last another 7 or 8 years in most scenarios. You might, talking to you, Steve, I'm just kidding, I don't know who Steve is, but the point is you might make it beyond that. But most people that are between the ages of, let's say 20 and 24, probably won't be playing in 5, 6, 7 years. So Ark needs to target a younger audience that's going to grow with their IP, their intellectual property. They need to find a younger audience to grow with them, especially with Ark 2 coming out, how big of a game that's supposed to be, in Ark the Animated Series. Now let me give you a little timeline, you know what I mean? So on one side, you have the younger audience. The younger audience is going to come in, they're going to play Ark on the Switch, right? After a year, 2 years of playing, or maybe right away, they're going to move on to the Animated Series. They're going to play their favorite game on the Switch, and they're going to watch their favorite game in a TV show with cartoons, Ark the Animated Series. Older players can enjoy that show too. I'm sure it'll be enjoyable for everybody. But at the end of the day, it's an animated series and the younger kids are going to love it. So those younger kids, they play Ark on the Switch, they watch Ark the Animated Series, and then as they get a little older, in a couple of years, they get a console, they get a gaming PC. They go and play Ark 2. Now all of a sudden the devs, the business, the game has a brand new player base for their Ark 2 game that's now been out a couple of years. The bugs have been kinked out. There's been some updates, new content. They have a new player base to grow with. They could go another 5, 6, 7 years and just repeat the process if they really wanted to, or they could build on it further. Point is that the Ark devs, the business behind it, they've made a lot of really smart moves. Ark 2 is a sequel to Ark 1. It attracts the current player base and beyond that, right? They have star power with Vin Diesel in Ark 2. That's going to bring a large audience out the gate. They've got Ark the Animated Series, which is going to target all of the current players that love the game, as well as a lot of people who don't necessarily game a lot or haven't played Ark itself, haven't tried it, and it'll likely even target a slightly younger audience than the current player base from that animated series. And then you factor in Ark on the Switch, and all of a sudden you've got the future of the Ark fan base and the Ark player base. 5 years from now, most of us that are currently playing Ark, that's all of you watching, myself included, we may not be playing Ark anymore. We might not. But that 12-year-old kid that's going to try Ark for the first time on his Nintendo Switch, that kid is the future of Ark. And in 5 years, that kid is 17 years old, and that kid is enjoying life, playing Ark after school, either still on his Switch or on his new PC or his new Xbox or PlayStation, playing Ark 2, having a great time, taming dinos, getting into some PvP, maybe conquering some caves in PvE. Who knows? But the point is Ark on the Switch is the future of the Ark IP. Ark 2 is for all of us. Ark the Animated Series is for everybody. Some of us will enjoy Ark on the Switch still. But in terms of the long-term goals, Ark on the Switch is for the future. And the fact that the business, that the dev team is thinking about that and putting that together, whether it's a really focused thought or just a general subconscious thought, the point is that Ark on the Switch is a big deal. And if Ark on the Switch succeeds heavily, that's really good news for Ark as a whole. Also, just in case you're intending on buying a Switch so that you could try out Ark on the Switch, please use the link in the description down below. It'll really help me out. Amazon will give me a small commission and it won't cost you anything extra. So please, if you want to buy a Switch and you want to help support me and my channel, use the link in the description down below. Anyways, I've started a new Ark PvP series with mission logs, mission reports, all sent out to mission control with mission goals, and a lot of fun, big time storytelling is what I'm trying to focus on. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out here. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I think you'll enjoy it. It'll get better as time goes on as well. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. My name is Dark, and I will see you next time.